Hi, for this session we're going to talk about how you can create or import lineage to represent lineage between objects that are replicated across schemas where we don't have a scanner already that will do that for you. So the purpose is to give you that ability to create the references or links, lineage links between database schema objects that are replicated and no scanner exists. So maybe you've moved them using scope or a script or something that we don't scan automatically like Golden Gate because it doesn't produce any metadata. So the source code for this is available on our GitHub repository. You can see the link here. I'll show that in just a moment. It's called DB Schema Replication. So let's look at an example. If we have an Oracle database that I have in my catalog, the schema here is called OT. There's 12 tables, and we have a Hive landing schema with the same tables and a few X's as well. So we've just replicated these tables. But what we don't have is any way to represent this lineage, not automatically anyway, because they were moved or created in a way that we don't have an automatic scanner for. So what we have is the ability to run a script using the API that will generate the lineage and then provide the information that we need. And the format of that lineage is simply the association name, the from object and the to object, and we look inside the catalog to figure out where's the from and the to. So we just pass it the parameters to be able to do that. So the first thing let's do is switch over to my browser and let's look at the Git repository. So here is the link that we had in the presentation, and you notice there's different folders, one for Java, one for Python, with a bunch of README information. So if you open up Python here, we'll see a list of scripts, and one of them is called DB Schema Replication that also has a markdown file that has some information about what the script does. So you can have a look at that in your own time. Basically what we do is we pass the left resource and schema type, the right resource name and schema, and have it go and generate the rest for us. So I've gone and downloaded that, the code. You can get it right from here, from the GitHub link. Either you do a git clone, or you can actually download and just grab the zip from here as well. So I've got that on my local system. You see here I've got my Python folder and I've got the DB Schema Replication script, but we've also got this out folder. There's nothing in here at the moment that will get created. So if I look at the script itself to give you an idea of what it does, is we can see just a bit of a header. And there's a section here to change these settings, and I've got it set up for my catalog. So it's telling it here that the resource name is OT Oracle and the schema name is OT. And the target schema name is called landing, and the target resource name on the right side is called landing Hive. And the last thing we do here is we just give it some credentials. So whatever my catalog server is and the ID and password for administrator, that's all you need to do to change. So I can minimize that now, and let's look at running this script. So I can just bring up my command window. This runs on any operating system, so I happen to be using Windows at the moment. But let's look at the list of files here. I can just type here Python and DB schema, and it's .py. We can just call that script. So what it's doing is a live connection to the catalog. It's finding the name, so it runs a query here. You can see exactly what the query is. It's the resource name equals OT Oracle, and the class type is schema, and the name, exact name, is OT. And it says here it's found one object, and then it's doing a relationships query to get all of the tables and columns for that object and stores them, and then it does the same for the target. And then what it finally does is it compares the left and right. It's looking at processing 66 objects, and it's generated those in a lineage. And it took, in this case, 3.9 seconds. If you were to run this server side, it would be very fast, less than 1 second. And this is only for a small example. So the result gets created here in this schema lineage, and then the left and right schema name. If we just open that very quickly, we can see we have the from object and the to object, and it's all formatted for us. So our warehouses table, and it's case insensitive, so it just doesn't matter whether it's upper or lowercase on the left or right, it'll match it. So at both the data set, which is a table level, and the column level, which is a directional data flow. So what we do, if we go into our catalog, let's go into a catalog here. I can open up one of these tables that's already imported. I've got my left and right schemas already imported. Here's my OT schema and my landing schema, and we've got all the objects in the catalog already because the API actually did a direct lookup. If I look at this context table here and I open lineage, we don't have any. So what we want to see is a downstream that's gone and connected or replicated out to the context table in my Hive environment. So what we can do here is go and create a new resource. This OT landing replication. Call it whatever you like, as long as it doesn't have spaces in the name. And the resource type is custom lineage, and let's take that file that we generated right here, and we can just drop it right in there. We could also zip this as well if it got larger. It's probably a good practice to do that. The next step, we do not need to check this auto-assign connections. Because we're using direct IDs, it will create the links for us automatically, and let's just save and run. That's it. So you run the script, it generates the lineage file, we'll wait for that to finish, and then the lineage should show up as we expected. So it says complete, took a few seconds for that to start up. Well, what happens is sometimes it'll take 2 seconds to complete, but you may not see the lineage straight away. It could take, I don't know, a minute or two, depending on your system, to show up within this. Let's look at this context table again. Let's go to lineage and refresh the display. And we'll just have to wait a moment. But the context text is that, or concept is that now we should see lineage from any of those objects. Let's pick another one, like employees. And we'll look at lineage and impact. And again, just wait a few seconds. Okay, there it is now. So we can see it for employees, we can see it for contacts. It took maybe a minute or two on my system. It's a pretty small environment. But I can see that, for example, my context table is now connected to contacts in the Hive schema. And if I look at all the columns, they are also connected as well. And of course, anything that is connected to will also be shown up left and or right side. But now we've got these relationships that were created from that lineage import script. So to recap what we've just seen, we used the database schema replication lineage script to generate the lineage file. That lineage file was then used to create a resource and import the lineage. And the last thing we did is we ran the scan and we just waited for the lineage relationships to get created, and we can then see the relationships that we expected. So fairly simple process. And the final result is that we can now see lineage from our source tables in the source schema to the target tables in the target schema. Everything's as we expected. It's all looking good. If you have a question about what you've seen in this session, the best thing to do is to go out to the Informatica network and enter a new discussion topic in the Enterprise Data Catalog space. So we can see that from the screen here. Go to Communities, Big Data, Enterprise Data Catalog, enter any questions you like, and we'll be able to respond and provide you with some more information. Thank you.